Welcome back to Attitude, Effort, Results presented by Teamwork Online and the Clubhouse. Today is going to be a fun one. With Jessica, I just talked for 10 minutes prior to this, and we got some energy today for everybody. So I'm going to kick it over. I cannot do an introduction that is going to top who she is and what she's about. So I'm going to kick it over to Jessica for the Spark Notes version of her background and who she is, and we are going to dive right in today. Jessica?
Yes, let's do it. I'm so excited. I'm America's first female speed painter. I'm the fastest in the entertainment industry. I hold the record in the world. It's kind of, I check it every day. Are we sure? Are we sure? But I have performed across pro sports leagues. And right now, that's kind of like the new thing I'm doing. And I'm sorry if you can hear my dogs. I'm at home. I'm never at home. I live on an airplane. I perform for pro sports from Major League Soccer. Just did lacrosse in Canada. That was crazy, man. I mean, I perform on ice, hockey. Those dudes don't have teeth. Also, NBA, WNBA. I mean, also just finished my second national college tour, starting up my third. And man, Wyoming is pretty cool, and so is Mount Rushmore. Whoa. And so yeah, I love pink. I love glitter. I came out the womb liking it. I am so glad there's a place for women like me, like Elle Woods and Barbie. But I don't fit that typical. You don't see a lot of that in the sports industry, but I'm also an entrepreneur. I'm a Swedish American. I come from humble beginnings, and was raised by a single mother, but also a nurse. She graduated nursing school in 6th grade, and I always believed what she told me ever since I was little, because I went through coloring books like crazy, so much that like she couldn't afford to keep buying them, so she would trace like VHS covers just to keep up with me. And she always told me that I could be whatever I wanted to be when I grew up, as long as I went to college. And I got to watch her live out those words. And so here I am today as America's legitimate first female speed painter, fastest in the industry, and the only girl you'll probably see in sequence on an NBA court painting a portrait upside down and flipping it, and maybe on fire at some point. I'm trying to figure that one out.
Oh man, you guys, I told you it was going to be good, and we are going to go everywhere today. We have a lot of different places that we want to cover, but as you can see, we have a fireball of energy in front of us. And yes, she is America's fastest speed painter, also an entrepreneur, also down to earth with her faith and her family as well. So as you guys know very well, today's going to be fun. Jessica, start us off with a little bit. You talked about humble beginnings. Tell us a little bit where you came from, because transparently, from the glitter and the glitz and the pink and the sparkles on the NBA court, not a lot of people are going to know where you started off. So give the people a little bit of where you started.
Well, absolutely. Like, actually, I was telling you a little bit before we got started, one of the interesting things, I only got into pageants was just because a high school teacher was like she told me to get into pageants, and that's actually how I got into speed painting. But like a high school teacher told me, by the way, before we just like jump into that, have you ever been in dumpster diving?
I have not been.
Dumpster diving. Okay.
I grew up on a farm, so I've done a lot of things around trash and everything, around animals, but dumpster diving, no.
Okay, so dumpster diving. So there's Goodwill, and then there's dumpster diving. There's a different like. I sat next to a different person, like when you're really from like the projects or poor or anything like that. Depending on what you do with your ramen noodles. What do you do? What do you do with your ramen noodles?
Is that a trick question?
No.
I don't eat a lot of ramen noodles. Otherwise, I would eat them.
Whenever you ever have.
I would eat them, I think.
That's how I know you're not bored. Well, you gotta take a Kraft single slice of cheese and you put it in there and heat it up with them. That's where it is. It's funny. And you mix it up. It's just cheesy goodness. Oh, you could also add frozen vegetables. I mean, I got the run on the frozen food market right there.
Okay.
the cheap food. But anyway, so I only got into pageants because a high school teacher told me, and I didn't even know what a just like we were talking about, I didn't even know what a TJ Maxx was or Forever 21 because we were just so like just so we live in government housing. My mom, though, I'm a Swedish American. We came over from Sweden, yeah, uh, and and so she actually graduated from nursing school in about sixth grade. When I was not her in sixth grade, I was in sixth grade, obviously. But she graduated at the top of her class with a 4.0 as a single mother. And so that was really, really cool. But she always told me growing up that I could be whatever I wanted to be. And I really believed her. But it was as long as I went to college. Like, I didn't know that was like not, I didn't know that was an option. Like, you could or could not go. Like,
Okay.
so she like just, I don't know. I don't know. And so, a lot of the things that she taught me coming from humble beginnings, mostly I think were reinforced because she walked them out. And so me coming from humble beginnings, starting out in a pageant world, or even coming into what I am today, a lot of people are very shocked. They don't believe. Like I even dealt with that in the pageant. Even in pageants, I deal with that. It's like the first thing. I mean, People Magazine even tried to do a whole story on it. It was just like I also, so my mom was a single mom, but I also have like 16 half brothers and sisters.
Okay.
So, my real father, who actually became a Christian while I was in Christian college because they prayer walked for him every night. It was
Wow.
really, that's a whole story.
And you went to seminary, so that was like during that time.
Yeah. So I went to art school and seminary. So I know Koine Greek. I can translate the Bible for you if you would like. I don't know Hebrew. Greek killed me. But I did learn the alphabet, like too. What was it? I think da da alpha uh alpha beta. Da, da, da. I'm trying to think. Yeah, the twinkle twinkle little star, so I could remember it for my. It was so hard being the only girl, like in all these Bible classes, and then the only girl as a speed painter, the only girl like what. This is just the theme of my life, like whatever. And then also being in art school too. Before I went to seminary, like I paint glitter. They were all exactly like you think. Purple hair, goth, like wow, like whatever. We hate Jesus, like this whole thing. It's exactly what you think it would be. But so being in all these different circles, I've always kind of just I've always found myself in that way, but also coming from modest beginnings, I think because my mom taught me I could be whatever I wanted to be. I never was scared of that, and so I made friends and with all of these different people from all different walks of life, and in all different sectors of things that like I wouldn't know about
Mm.
unless I had gotten to meet them. And so um, I'm often underestimated. I'm often stereotyped hardcore.
Mm.
But it's really fun for me. It's become a sport. I'm trying to become a sport. Um, for me to be like, oh, that's cute. That's good. Would you like to see me paint?
Yeah, so take whatever you think about me and watch this.
Pretty much. But also with the greatest humility too, because my mom also raised me with that. Like my mom is my biggest superhero, and right now I'm watching her in her new class act, which I say it in this way because she is defeating stage 4 terminal breast cancer.
Oh.
And yeah, which is like your superhero your whole life is like, I mean, there was a news story. This is how humble my mom is. There, my whole life, me and my brother would always be like in the back seat of the car, and if there was a wreck on the side of the road, we would always be like, no, like because she was a nurse, and so they have like this saving act thing or whatever, which I knew immediately in seventh grade I wasn't going to go into the medical field as soon as that like knife went into the frog. I was
Oh
like,
yeah,
nope,
good
it's
here.
not here, not for me. What happened to my mom? What happened to me? Like, but anyway, but my brother and I would always be like, this, right? Because she would pull off to the side of the road, jump out of the car, and she'd be like, I'm a nurse! I'm a nurse! And it's like every wreck, like, didn't matter. Like, and so I guess this one time, we're in college at this point, and my mom, there's no first responders there yet. 18 wheelers on its side. There's a fire happening. She pulls out like this three, one or two men out of this, like the first, or like somebody had, grown men were trying to pull them out. She was like, you gotta cut the seatbelt. And she's like pulling them out. She's the only one. She gets him out of there. And she's like, oh, you gotta stay with me. You gotta stay with me. And she's like telling me this story and like brings it back to life, whatever. And like became Facebook friends, followed his family, the whole thing. But you know what? She didn't stay around for like the news reporter. She just like did her job. She's like, all right, I gotta go. And it was like, mom. I was like, you were in the paper, like you were in the news. What? Like I didn't find out until it happened. It was like, that's where I come from. I come
I
from a
love
little
that.
peace out. And it's like, it just happened. But like my whole life. Like
So now you're on stages, you're in halftime shows, you're NBA, NFL, like you've done paintings for large companies. How are you able to stay humble through all of that? Because now you are a massive figure with a brand as a business owner. How do you stay humble throughout all that?
I just don't ever take it for granted, I guess. Like to
Mm.
me, I don't know, cream always rises the crop, or cream always rises to the top. So there's always going to be someone coming after it, right? And so like you always got to stay on top of your wits. And like even my mom, after she graduated nursing school, she was still like looking at like trying. She went on to go get her, um, like master's, bachelor's, like all the different degrees to become an anesthesiologist. She was actually in the process of like doing that until she got diagnosed with terminal cancer. But she became, she reached all her goals, and then she had more, and then she just started creating new ones. And I think because of just watching my mom, and I think that's just like also maybe the Swedish immigrant in me too. Like I don't know if you know like how I didn't realize either because they started cutting off like the Staten Island like logs, of immigrants, like I think in the 60s, I'm not sure, but like
Okay.
and so my family was still in those logs, which I was like, well, Nanny, you came over when you were 14, my grandmother. And but like it took that long. Like so her grandfather, like they had to come out, like it's not like we're gonna move to America today. It's like they you have to come over and like waves and like start to settle stuff up, you know what I mean? And so I think
Yeah.
like is the part that I think just that grit, that determination is something that I inherited. It's a vibe. It's my family. It's something I've always known. But the humility, I think, definitely comes from just knowing that that title can always be taken. That title
Mm.
can always be like, and also the idea of being a contributor, not a copier. You always want to contribute to the industry. You always want to give something to the world. And because, New York Magazine, they named me the mother of the speed painting movement when I was 20, like six. And I was like, not really keen on the word mother. At 26, I was still like, I wasn't married yet. I was like, what? I was like, but anyway, but they named me the mother of the speed painting movement because they started. I won talent painting Jesus upside down in 90 seconds, and with an easel I actually invented. Like,
Wow.
yeah, because I was a sculpture major from art school, so I know how to weld. I know how to like carpentry, like, I mean, all the things like blowtorch, like whatever. And so I mean that's me. And I just happen to love pink and glitter. But like, um, that started a movement, and when I started to see like, well, New York Magazine called and told me I started a movement. I didn't know. Um, and they were like, "Did you
Which
know?"
is so interesting, by the way, of like you weren't really at the forefront. You were like, New York Magazine's like, hey, we're gonna do this, like just letting you know. We're not asking for permission, we're just like, we're gonna do this.
No, they didn't. No, they just called me last because that was it. I was like, they called me last at the end of the trail because it was like I started some movement and it like weaved through America and I was where they ended up with, and that like everybody was like, I saw Jessica. Cause like to codify, so I'll say this. In Miss America organization, you've got mostly when you think about it, singers, dancers, right? That's true to a point. To codify a unique talent into that industry is nearly impossible. I've seen
Mm.
drummers, I've seen roller skaters, I mean, there's ballerinas and opera singers, and I mean, the whole nine yards. For me to have won talent in Tennessee, I mean, to be frank, I think the girl before me was on the cast in Nashville playing the fiddle. Like, and the girl after me was like, I don't know, a backup singer for somebody in Nashville. So, like, Tennessee, of all places, for me to win talent
Yeah,
was,
that's
I
crazy.
that was crazy. And so, but like, they just didn't know. And I kind of meant and intended for them not to know what was going to hit them.
Mm.
I love a good head fake. And
That's
so
strategic. That's strategic.
like now I like that word. I love talking strategy. But it's called the under it's like you were talking about in your boring friend thing. It's a sleeper mode. It's that underdog strategy. And
Mm.
so when they saw me, they were I mean, to be I do love my pageant sisters, all those I've met because I'm still friends with them. But there it's kind of like when like athletes like on the court though it's you got a job to do, right? you know and that's also another like aspect of just my career, like respecting, like just like being among the in just crazy talent that I get to perform like around. But you have a job to do, and so but also I mean you've got to be friends and that kind of thing. But now it comes to time to compete. And so they thought I was going to show up with like a poster board or something. I don't know what they thought I was going to do, but I think it was laughable to them when I showed up because I was a painter. And then I just swept that whole thing. And I was like, but I'm not going to act like that was like I knew it. Like no. I started, you know, like I said, humble beginnings, and I just started winning everything. I just feel like that's just maybe part of my family, like because they were in sports. Because my brother, for example, maybe this is where I get my speed. He walked into high school pitching 95 miles per hour.
Wow.
Yeah, for real. You know Michael Waka?
I have heard the name. I don't know him.
Yeah, pitcher. He was his backup pitcher.
Okay.
My brother's backup pitcher. But Keegan, they overuse his arm a little bit. I don't think there was like whatever the stuff that they have now, to protect like
Yeah.
arm stuff or whatever, like in high school. I mean, that was back then. But he took him all the way to state, first time to state. He's a freshman. Funniest thing about this, it to me, well, now, not at the time, was he's like walking in, right? Like, I'm on varsity, on baseball, whatever. And second weekend, he's dating a senior. I'm a junior. I'm like, Keegan, you can't do that. Like, she's in my art class. And he's like, and it's like, but anyway, so I feel like, long story short, you have a job to do, and competing in this industry, like what I got to do with pageants was bring a whole different like idea to the table, and it got codified because I won. And a lot of girls are not it's not a lot of fair representation of talent. So sometimes girls don't feel like I'm not really a singer or a dancer. I'm not like whatever. And so the fact that art made it to the table, I don't even know. Like I just feel like I just feel true. I truly feel like it's a God thing, and I owe that to the Lord. But last year, I believe, um, the first so the girl who won talent at Miss America was Miss Michigan, and she was a speed painter. And the other talent winner in the teen division was Miss Teen Kentucky, and she was a speed painter.
Wow. So you clearly have innovation mindset,
Bawling my eyes out. I
which
was
is
like, oh
crazy.
my God. Because like that doesn't happen. Like that just does not happen. And so it's just unreal to be a part of something like that and to not just to inspire or lead, but also now I'm like, okay, there's a lot of girl painters gonna probably coming up. I don't know. Like, so I feel like I need to make space for them. So I'm out here like lacrosse, soccer, baseball. I'm like, I'll perform on a dugout. We gotta have a lot of room because we got a lot of painters coming. So anyway, I think it is really roundabout answer your question. I don't know. We went down a long tunnel.
Hey, and we can do that because you're an innovator. Like you literally just invented this entire thing. We're now Miss America pageant winners are speed painters. I'm curious. Not only are you very high energy, which I need to know a secret. I'm like, this is crazy. I think I'm pretty high energy, and I get in a room with you, and I'm like, I think I'm energy deficient now.
Oh, maybe you
Actually.
should chill. I can be chill. I can also be chill. But you're on my favorite topic, So
Oh yeah.
my
What is it? So, as you are going through this movement, and now that there's going to be a lot of painters coming up, and you want it to be an industry, right? You want it to be something that's bigger than yourself. What does the business aspect look like for you now? Because not only did you win, which is important, you prepared, you won. Now you're starting a movement. What does the business side of that movement look like for everybody out there right now that's like, hey, I have this talent or I have won a couple times and I want to grow it to impact people. I want to have a legacy further than myself. How have you done it that others can maybe follow?
actually great question. I started a talent agency but I'm training men. I'm still like waiting for the girls, but like right now I'm training men, and but it's younger speed painters, but I've trained a few girls here or there, that have been available, but like it's difficult to train or coach, with the schedule that I have.
Mm.
So right now, trying to figure out how, yeah, like how to steward that leadership. And so I don't know. After listening to your podcast about being a boring friend, I was like, maybe I'll start a podcast. Maybe I'll be a podcast girl. I don't know how else to get the word out. Like, um, let's start with this. You need these things. Let's do that because, like I said earlier, like, to be a contributor, because since I left MAO, they just do what I left them with. And like, I mean, I gotta help them. I feel like, and so in a way, like that's what I'm working on. That's my new thing. I'm I'm trying to develop new So I mean, like I've developed new easels and stuff like that. Like I have a 24-foot long glass easel, setting the precedent. I started my own residency, like that whole thing. That was a oof. I lost 16 pounds in a week. I'm telling you, that was insane. Um, I have easels that are my. It was funny. It was not funny to my dancers, but my dancer, I had like four dancers, and so it was like 54 shows, 3 days, 3 shows a day, 7 days a week. Um, it was insane. I had to live on campus, for half of March and all of April. Like I had to live in this house, like for this residency, and like if you ever play a train sound, I'm like, because that's how like the I guess the amusement park at Silver Dollar City or whatever like started, and I just knew it's like I got to be there, and like show's about to start, like whatever. And so, but I like lived there. I had to live there, and
Mm.
so, but my dancers they would call my easels death contraptions, because
Okay.
well, because I mean, a lot of them were spring loaded and that kind of thing, so that it would help with because the whole purpose is entertainment. And so I invented this 24 because I was like, well, I got real ambitious my last year in Miss Tennessee. I was like, well, first of all, I was like, what would one person do that nobody would do? They would visit all 95 counties of Tennessee. So I did. I made a
Wow.
map. I got in my car, broke as I was, slept a little bit. I slept in hotel parking lots here or there when I got really to the top of Tennessee. But I wanted to understand when I was competing for the job what it would entail. And it was insane, but I did it. I set my sights out. Because I sat down and I was like, what would nobody do? And I was like, nobody's going to drive to 95 counties of Tennessee. I'm going to do it. So I did. And then I waited and until I got to Miss Tennessee the week and unleashed the album of me in front of all the county signs and all the schools and all the people I talked to because so that they couldn't compete with it, do anything about it.
Wow.
So that was
Yeah,
it.
they had nothing. They had nothing to do at that point.
So that yep. And then there's that strategy. And then I was like, so I made some waves with the first speed painting. Started a movement apparently. I can't just come back with my same painting. So I decided to paint Jesus on a 24-foot long glass easel in 90 seconds.
That's crazy. The talent itself is crazy, but the thought process of like, let
I
me do
just sat
this.
down. I just remember I just sat down. I was like in my apartment. I was like, what would be the craziest thing? And then I worked backwards from there, and I was like, how do we make it possible? So I realized if I wanted to paint 24 feet long glass, right? Like that'd be so cool. But I was like, there's no way I can cover that amount of surface area for one in 90 seconds. So I designed it in a triangle so that I could be in it like a box so I could cover all the surface area while it's folded up and attach the paint inside. And then it
Mm.
would spring load open, and that would be the reveal. And nobody would know what was going on because I'm in a glass box, first of all. And then also, paint's happening. We don't know any. I also underestimated, like, because I was always like, what if they see them starting to paint, like, his face or what? Because I was so used to the upside down factor. But I very much underestimated the fact that it was like, Jessica, you're walking out with a glass box that's about to spring load open to 24 feet long. Like, chill out. Like, but I did it. And I am notorious, like, known for, like, and I've built many easels. I've built something I also call the triptych. Um, Now we tried this in my residency. It was so also triangles work well.
Okay.
Um, so we built 3 or 4 of them. So my whole thing, it was called Bloom, my show, and the easels. So I built this one to so instead of it opening forward, which the glass easel you can paint on the outside or you can paint on the inside. I've made it to work several different ways, but the triptych it opens. It's an easel where it would go like this, like where the front of the triangle is this way, and then the arms kind of like open, right? And so, but in my bloom residency, bloom, flowers, seeds, dirt, right? I started figuring out, wait a minute, like pizza, like a pizza, right? I could make multiple. The dancers could dance with them. They could run around, like they could be shoved. Like it could be like, it could start out like a seed, like or whatever, and then it break apart and like they could shove it, like or whatever. And it could be like really intense, and I had like all these ideas. Um, the the dancers with Wood and the Eastwells, though, it was like I think they were dying. Like, and so I was like, we had to pitch that segment. Though I still intend to bring it back, maybe with men. But
Okay.
like one dancer was like at the brink of tears, like I got it. No, I'm good. I'm like, no, we're good. It's okay. All right, we're gonna.
What does the preparation look like for all that? Because you're saying it right now like it's happening and you've done it. Obviously you have. Like what was the preparation timeline look like? Because I'm watching you right now, which also if you're not watching on YouTube right now and watching Jessica's like facial expression, you're watching her passion, you're watching all of her arm movements. Go to YouTube and watch it because it's incredible. What does the preparation look like for something like that?
It took a year because I was like, I have no model. First show ever. Also, I just happen to have a lot of firsts. I don't mean to, but I just have them. I'm like, I don't know. Like the only reason I'm the fastest in the industry is because Jack Black tried to be squirrely with the gong, and I was like on the Gong show, and he was a squirrely dude. He gonged maybe what the first 18 acts or something before they even started, and we were the first episode that they filmed, and I'm back here sweating bullets, like looking at the producer, like I'm a painter. I'm the painter. What am I gonna do? Like I'm like, what am I gonna do? And he's just because like he just like gets up and he's just like gong. And if you get gong, you don't qualify. So anyway,
Yeah.
the process. Anyway, so how I won that show is like by the skin of my paintbrushes. That's how I set the record for being the fastest. It was by sheer like survival. But also, how we planned this show, I didn't have anything to model it after, and so I realized my audience. We were going to be in a theme park, and my whole goal was, I want the 12-year-old Mohawk kid who came there for the baddest like roller coaster to come to my show all 3 times. He's at that park that day because I didn't
Ah.
want, and that was my goal. And so and I got the feedback. I mean, like I got a standing ovation. The show got a standing ovation every time except for maybe 3. And
Wow.
and I think it maybe I don't know those people, but they should have stood. But anyway, but that was my goal. And so how I approached it was like, yeah, it's called Bloom. Dudes are like, oh, it's gonna be flowers. Well, the women who drag their husbands in or whatever initially before it caught on are like, our first few shows. I was like, we're gonna start out with a boom. We're gonna do Slash, Guns and Roses because it's roses. So
Yep.
it's like it starts off with like something kind of whimsical, but then it's like lightning. It's like and I'm like, and I come out and it's like lightning bolts, and it's like wow, and it's like welcome to the jungle, like, and it's like, and I literally I'm painting and whatever, and we like bang on the floor, and I'm like dun 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 dun, and it's like, are you ready? Like this whole thing. And the bros, like afterwards, that talked to me about the show, like they're like, I didn't even know what to do. But I met my Mohawk 12-year-old, and he did come all 3 shows. Mic drop.
Mission accomplished.
But also, I mean, I just knew I had to make it epic because if it was just all flowery and girly, like, I mean, we're in a theme park. And so I was like, okay, so then the next segment, the story was about my mom and telling our story because she had terminal cancer. It was actually pretty like close to when we found out. And actually, that's why she said she's just like, we're Swedish, we're Vikings. I mean, I mean, of course she's awesome, but and just like totally killing it. All of her tumors have shrunk, and it's just incredible. But initially, she was very much incorporated in the story. So it starts off with just like Guns N' Roses, like what just happened in Thunder. Then it goes into like a video transition talking about a seed and like our story. And I also have a philosophy minor, so I also wrote a lot of that. So that was really really cool.
Wow.
And the next segment, which, oh my, this is how I lost like 16 pounds in like a week, because I decided, because I love pink and glitter, I decided every segment should have a costume change, which, oh my gosh, if you don't know about a costume change, wow. So you have to get in the line. Everything has to have an industrial zipper, and like your dancers are helping you, whatever. And you're wearing a costume on top of another costume, then you're putting on something else, and then you're running across another portion of the stage to run to a turntable part of the stage. So there's a 36-foot long stage, two turntable stages on either side, and so then you're running, and then you're getting over here to like your like stage segment, and like the table is turning while you're on it and you're painting. And so then the next segment is a coloring book, which I built, which was 10 feet tall. And my gosh, my stage crew was so funny. They started getting, I almost got hurt at one point. Because so like, you gotta like, it's like sports, like your arm, you gotta take care of it. Because like, so my stage crew, I would have them just like, it's a coloring book, so I'd have them like paint like a dinosaur, like a one whatever something. Well, they got like, I've got to cover this coloring book with like a painting of a rose, right? Well, then what? Dudes start like, they're all dudes, and so Ari or whatever, one of the guys who's on the stage crew, he decided to paint a giant dinosaur. Like, and I just remember like, so because I like this one particular segment, it doesn't turn with me on it. I walk out and it's like the dancers, it's like a vision. It's almost like kind of like the Nutcracker vibes, but it's like they're helping me to realize like that I can be what I want to be or whatever. Well, the stage table. So the dancers they're dancing with me, and I'm like, I can't believe that this is happening. And a paintbrush comes from like up high, this whole thing, and it's like a whole full costume change, like in real life, like happening before the audience. And like the turntable turns, and it's a giant dinosaur, and I'm like, and the dancers are like,
And at this point, you have no idea what it is.
I didn't know, like they're supposed to do like a flower or something small that I could cover, but it was such a big dinosaur that I was like, oh my god. And like, but also my dancers, it was a very somber moment. So we like look at each other as it turns, and and I look back because it's supposed to be like a, and like come back to the dancers. I don't think I can do it. And then, but like it was like a, oh my god, no. Like, and then and they were like, they were trying to keep their face straight, and so I had to go back, and I had to take a can of paint and literally throw it on this like canvas to cut, because I have to cover the whole, there can't be a dinosaur peeking out like of the painting. So oh my gosh. And then from that segment I have to go from there, run 36 feet, get into a costume change, do the Mona Lisa, paint, jump, dance, whatever. Then I go do another costume change, and I have to paint a 16, no, then we do the prince with an umbrella and dancing, and then Elvis in the blue room. And then I have to that's why you have to save your arm, because then I have to paint a 16-foot rising Statue of Liberty as it's raising. Like, they didn't know it was going to raise. Like, everything else is like upside down, whatever. But like, then the Statue of Liberty starts to raise, and I'm like, huh! It's like intense. And like, but I have like full reign of like that whole stage. So like, splatter, go for it, whatever. Great. So I will say, and then I end with like my glass easel. So it's like, and it's like, I'm a survivor, but it's like Tomb Raider version, and it's like,
Okay.
whatever. And it's like, and then I like in, and I'm like, whatever. And it's like, bust it open. But we had like a safety key because the dancers were so scared of it. And so I got all the way, and it was like popped open. I just like busted through. But and then people are just like crying because it's like a whole story. But it was a few NBA halftimes after that. I had to like, we might need to calm down with the splatter because it came right off my residency. So, but anyway, I hope that answered your question. I don't know. I got lost.
Oh man, I love it. The energy is crazy, and the fact that you have so many different stories and you can relate to a lot of things is incredible. I do have one last question for you. So,
Yeah.
as our audience, mostly college kids, young professionals, we do have a lot of other individuals that are starting to listen and starting to catch wind elsewhere outside of the sport industry. And today, obviously, we integrate in sports because that's where you're performing. And we integrated that into it today a little bit. What would you have in terms of advice for the college kid, the young professional just getting started? I have this idea. I don't really know what to do, or I don't have an idea. I have no idea what to do. You've been in a lot of different rooms, a lot of different spaces where you went to seminary, art school, you said philosophy minor. I mean, you have it all going on. And it seems like it's all come to fruition in your career path now, but I'm positive it has not been a smooth path for you. So, what would you say for our listeners in terms of advice as you walk that path?
I'll give it to you in 3 points. One, it was a very long journey. Being a speed painter, I had so many people, and they had like message boards and stuff too that some girls knew about, where you got to read how many people thought you sucked or maybe weren't good or whatever. And people would tell me I would win if I would just change my talent. And I was just like, I'm not going to sell out. And because this is what I love to do. And as I stuck with it, like, it's because I stuck with what I love to do. And that's how that's how it happened. But like, it's going to be a long journey. Anything worth developing, anything that's new or whatever, it's going to come with it's going to come with a hard journey. But
Hmm.
don't be afraid to be different. I mean, just like I said before our interview, like the first question I got asked, like in my first, as a very green pageant person, they said, "I bet your daddy bought your wardrobe," and it was like, actually, come from, I don't have a dad. Whole thing, and it's like, jokes on you. They felt bad for me, and then I won interview. So, but it was like, don't be afraid of where you come from. Use what you have where you're at. Like, if you want to start a photography business, rent a camera, like get some paper and just start. Like, that's what you just have to start. And I think it's that quote. What is it? I think it's Henry Ford. Well, I don't know. Hard work is usually, or something. Something's avoided because of overalls. I don't know. Whatever quote that is, and because it's dressed in overalls and it's covered in paint and dirt. And I'll tell you, I'll never forget even preparing for the Gong show the night before, because we were sequestered in hotels. So I couldn't talk to anybody. And I knew the next day we was filming day. And I, I mean, until my fingers bled. And in the same prep I did for Miss Tennessee, I would paint and I would wash it off. I would paint and I would wash it off. I would paint and I would wash it off, because in your youth, this is the time where you're going to have the energy to do that. Like, and you've got to take advantage of your best resource, which is your energy, your like health, your nobody expects anything of you kind of area. So because if you're like 45 and you're like, I'm trying to figure it out, it's like, all right, bro, but like, now's a good time to like just like try out all the new things. Like, if you're gonna do something, do it. I mean, also coming from a background of humble beginnings, you got room and board for free right now. Like, bro, like, your housing is paid for, your food is paid for, you've got a scholarship. Like, why you are not inventing the iPhone right now in your dorm room is beyond me. Like, invent something, because everything's paid for, and it won't be paid for once you graduate. Like, once you graduate, you got to pay that rent yourself, and you better have a job to do so. Also, what are you gonna have? I mean, and then also, I would love to say, make sure, I've never worked for anybody in my life. I've always been self-employed, which is crazy. um but make sure that you love what you're doing. But in order to know, like, that you're gonna love it, you got to know your, like, what you love. And you've got to know. So like, when people are like, what mark do you want to make on the world? Like, make your mark. Like, what I've gotten that question a lot as a painter. um it's cliche, but it's actually a good I'll speak to it. Know what is the color of it? What does it smell like? What does it taste like? What does it feel like? What does it sound like? Know that, and know that that's because if you know that, what like and don't be afraid of it. And don't be afraid, like, maybe it's not trendy. I wasn't trendy. I was a speed painter. And to this day, I have to avoid mentioning my profession in like at a wedding or at
Mm.
like just anything just normal. Like people are like, what? It's like the only thing I can do to get out of the conversation is like Instagram. Here you go. What do you do? Let's deter, like whatever. But make sure that you love it. And I actually just had an interview with LSU and another like thing. I've had a very busy week with sports. And they asked me that same question too. Make sure you, but it's make sure that you love what you do. Make sure, whether you work in corporate America, whether you're an influencer, whether you're a creator like I am, you have a personal brand, and you need to love the walls that are that build that brand, because you're going to live in them for a very
Mm.
long time. And so take account, go on a walk. I don't know, like, make sure you like cruises. I don't know, like, figure it out, like, you know what I mean, like, dissect a frog. I don't know. But definitely, like, and then once you figure out you're like really into it, that's okay. Just dig deeper. Like my whole office, it's this color, but it looks like a crazy person. It's covered in hearts and pink. But wait, this is the only reason. But that's the only reason you get this.
Mm. That's huge. Yeah, can we get a gong out of it?
I don't have the big thing, but it's like for real. Like here's a gong.
Oh, that's great. That is awesome.
Man,
I appreciate your time. Your time, your energy is fantastic. Sometimes I think I'm a crazy person with energy, so I appreciate you.
well, I hope that I'm not. I know I'm loud. I can be a lot for, but I really appreciate it, and I love your podcast. It's great. It's so insightful. Very has so much wisdom, and yeah. So I'm really grateful for being a part of it. So thanks for having me.
Yes, ma'am. You're welcome. And if you do start a podcast, I have a social team who is phenomenal and would happily take over and help produce some of that. So I know you got people, but I will put my social team against anybody. So
Some Rex, because as you can tell, I am a woman that is not at a loss for words. Problem. I
yeah,
just
we
like
can get with Tyson and we can make it happen.
so. But anyway, oh, would you like to see my student dog?
Yeah, let's do it. That is an awesome painting of Snoop Dogg. That is so sick.
This is the
Have you showed that to him at all?
Oh, I mean, no, I have not. I don't really. No, I haven't. But it's the entryway to my house.
Oh, that's awesome. Is your entire house, now I'm curious, is your entire house like badass paintings that you've done?
I'm debating if I should show you.
Besides the sick record labels that are behind you?
There are murals in every room, paintings in every room. It would take a house tour would be interesting, but I wasn't ready for that. So
We should get MTV Crib over here. Welcome to
maybe,
my crib.
maybe if I can. No, I can't. It's not clean. It's not clean enough. Yeah.
All good. Well, that'll be the second time we bring you on. We'll do an MTV Welcome to My Crib tour of the place.
That would be cool. That'd be cool. That'd be cool. But
Awesome. Well,
yeah, over there with records, and anyway, we'll save that for next time.
deal. Well, I appreciate you. Attitude, effort, results, community. Let's inspire others and continue to grow together.